Our baseball insider, Robert Murray, has been traveling the country. Yep, he was in California for the GM meetings, and he's got all the news for you. Baseball off season. It's hot. It's right now on the Baseball Insiders. Welcome to the Baseball Insiders podcast with Mark Carmen and Robert Murray. Robert Murray, good to see you. Bert, but I'm angry at you. You were going out to the GM meetings. We're supposed to talk every day. I didn't hear from you. You straight dissed your boy Carm because you had more important things to do. I want an apology to start this podcast. Will you apologize?
Yeah, I'm actually going to get down on my two knees and start bowing to you, Carmen, just apologizing profusely. I got to be better. It's just a very tough look for me, and I promise I'll make it up to you.
It's okay. Don't worry. I mean, listen, I'm sure I'll let you down at some point, but just know that I missed you. I was hungry for more Bert in my life, and I felt a void. You just need to know that as we start this pod, because I know there's news happening, and there's also a lot of rumors behind the scenes. It's an exciting time with a lockout coming right at us. Should we start with your guy, Freddie Freeman, World Series hero? And what is the future of Freddie? We all think he's going to end up back in Atlanta, right?
Correct. I think there's a very good chance that he ends up returning back to Atlanta. It's just taking a lot longer than both sides would prefer because they've been very clear about there being mutual interest, and there's a lot of it. And when there's mutual interest, there's often deals that are made. And in this case, I did not talk to a single person out in Carlsbad, California, who thought that Freeman would leave. Now, there are good fits for Freeman. You can look at the Yankees. You can look at the Angels. I know the Angels were rumored even during the season as a potential suitor for Freeman. I'll give you an oddball one if you're very inclined for that, or if you're so inclined. The Los Angeles Dodgers. So the Dodgers, this is more of a speculative fit rather than definitive information, but I had a couple of people who are very wise tell me that Freeman could be a fit in LA if they move Max Muncy to second base. And that being said, I would call this deal more of a fantasy than reality. And it's more than likely not going to happen because the Dodgers, they have 5 very good free agents that they want to keep. They're not going to be able to keep them. And I can't see them not keeping their own guys and signing somebody else to a monster contract who's outside the organization.
So we're going to get to the free agent shortstops down the line here, but Corey Seeger, when you name, they've got all these free agents to sign. We are still sticking with nothing different than he's leaving and we'll end up in someone else's uniform on that front.
Correct. Yeah, I think Seager's going to end up being gone. He's going to end up commanding a very large contract, probably the second most expensive behind Carlos Correa. My guess there is probably the Yankees, but there's going to be a lot of teams involved there.
Interesting. All right, we'll get into that coming up here too. Look, Freddie Freeman belongs in Atlanta. I maybe it's because I'm an old school baseball guy at this point, but dudes who play with one team for their entire career is cool. Winning the World Series is awesome. Being Freddie Freeman in that jersey and the love that he has down there is nothing that you want to break up. I think all of that is perfect. It is interesting that you mentioned the Yankees because they're mentioned in everything. Carlos Correa at the top of the list. But if it's not Freeman, who do you think plays first base for the Yankees next year?
I'm going to go with Anthony Rizzo. There was a report, I want to say it was from NJ.com, that somebody in Rizzo's family said that he wants to return there. And I can't confirm that, but I think Rizzo's a perfect fit for the Yankees, and it won't be nearly as expensive as Freeman. I think that should be a pretty affordable contract. And would also, if you sign a guy like Rizzo as opposed to Freeman, you have the room to sign one of those top shortstops. So what would you rather have, Carm? Would you rather have Freddie Freeman and a lesser shortstop, or would you rather have Anthony Rizzo and Corey Seager?
I'm not sure, and maybe I'm an idiot here, maybe I'm biased, but I'm not sure that I wouldn't rather have Rizzo than Freeman, period. Tell me where, at this stage in their career, projecting out, how is Freeman such a better bet than Rizzo? Can you answer that for me? Because I can't. I think Rizzo's going to hit for more power in Yankee Stadium, and defensively, you can't have any problems with Anthony Rizzo. Like what is the huge upgrade in Freeman that I'm missing here, or am I?
Yeah, I think I don't think you're wrong in valuing Rizzo, but I also think Freeman's just a very well-rounded player. And I'm not saying that Rizzo isn't, but he's an elite player. And there's a reason why teams, especially Atlanta, value him so much. He's got power. He can play defensively like really well. He can hit what did he average a couple years ago? It was an absurd number.
Well, let's look at the old Freddie Freeman trajectory here, as he's going to be in his 12th season coming up here, right? So it's he's a full. We're talking about a full vet here, Bert.
It does not feel like he's been in the league that long. I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like he should be in like year 6 or 7. But maybe that's just me.
So Freddie Freeman, for the record, was a rookie in 2010. His first full year really was. That year that was a September situation. Then he played, became a full-time player in 2011. Last year, Freddie Freeman, 695 plate appearances. It's the most in baseball. That's some significant durability. I mean, he does not miss time, which is another quality for him. But he hit 300 with an OBP of 393. Slugged 503, so that gives you an OPS of 896, coming down from an incredible MVP year in 2020. But of course, that's 2020, which I think you can, that holds on a whole different type of level. He was 4th in MVP voting in 2018, 8th in 19. I mean, I'm not saying he's not a better player than Anthony Rizzo, but we're talking about two guys that are getting towards the twilight. He's going to be 32 years old. His home run numbers have remained very consistent. He made 31 last year after being 38 and 19. These are, the most he's ever had was the 38. So he's still producing at an enormous clip. I get it. But you still think you're paying for past performance at some point here.
No, exactly. It's not like you're going to end up getting the best version of Freddie Freeman. Like he's still going to be a very good player, but and this is something that ended up popping into my head with Freeman. The minimum that he's probably going to get on an annual basis is probably about $26 million per year, which is in line with Paul Goldschmidt. Like that's the minimum, and you got to think he probably get a couple more million per year, if not a little bit more than that. And I don't know what Rizzo's going to get in free agency, but my gut feeling is that he's going to end up turning into a relative bargain. And if you're looking for more bang for your buck, I think Rizzo would end up being that guy, which I can totally see what you're talking about. But I think Freeman is a better player, but Rizzo is going to end up being like the better value, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Rizzo had 22 bombs last year. It's not 31, but it ain't that far away. He also, was playing on 2 different teams. So throw that into the mix. He's just been a very consistent player, man. 27, 25, 32, 32, 30. Now we're going back. I mean, you're not getting the same guy, and he's had back issues every single year that he's been in there. But we're on the same page here. Rizzo, short, you're going to get him for what? What do you think here? 2 years and 36? Something like that.
I think maybe even less than that, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, like that could end up being like I've been trying to figure this one out. I don't have a general idea of what that deal is going to look like, which it's an odd feeling. Let's just say that. But I think he's going to end up being a pretty valuable player. But also with both of these guys, I want to mention that a lot of teams around the league rightfully value these guys as leaders. Like they're going to step in and they're going to be prominent voices in the clubhouse from day one. And I would imagine for a contending team, or maybe even a young contending team, like that's going to prove extremely valuable. And that was last year for the Braves. Like Freeman was very crucial to their success. And like, I don't see there's any way that he leaves Atlanta.
And I get it. Like some players are worth more to certain teams than they are elsewhere. And Freddie Freeman, I think, falls under that. And dude, you earned it, buddy. Get paid.
Darn right.
Go for
it.
Get
your dough.
All right. Let's move to the little pitching, because our first big deal, I guess, of the offseason was Eduardo Rodriguez leaving Boston, going to Detroit, 5 years, a reported 77 million buckaroos for the 28-year-old lefty. who has been with the Red Sox for the last 7 years, and he rejected the Red Sox 18 and some odd $1 million qualifying offer, which is a great place to be in life. So our first pitcher is gone. Reaction from Bert. Did this surprise you at all? Detroit getting aggressive?
It did not surprise me that it was Detroit. Like, I got rumblings late last night that it was like something was happening involving Rodriguez. I just didn't know what team, but I tried narrowing it down, and I was down to either Boston, Toronto, or Detroit. I know the Angels were involved in some extent, but I actually found out late last night that Toronto was out, which is usually a good sign that a deal is imminent. But they made a big push for Rodriguez. I don't know if that's been reported quite yet, but Toronto has missed on Rodriguez and Andrew Heaney, who they also had a lot of interest in. But if we're sticking strictly with Rodriguez in Detroit, I was not surprised he ended up there. But getting 5 years for $77 million, like, that caught me way off guard. I was expecting maybe 2 or 3 years for him, but like, so
I mean, let me just bottom line this before you go on. He had an ERA close to 5 last year, 4.77. He missed all of 2020 with myocarditis, following he had a COVID-19 infection. So that's not to your point. That's a lot going on behind the scenes. They're both on and off the field.
Yeah, correct. And the Tigers, they're very confident that they can end up getting the most out of Rodriguez. Like, there's a lot of underlying numbers that suggest like it's very possible, but giving him 5 years is a huge gamble, and he has the ability to opt out after 2 years. But as I said, I was thinking he was going to end up getting a 2 or 3 year deal, and the fact that he got 5, I got executives and other agents texting me that the Tigers are, quote, crazy for giving this kind of contract, and I don't think you can give Rodriguez 5 years for 77 and call it quits after that. Like, this has to be the precursor to a lot of different moves throughout this winter. And they're connected heavily behind the scenes to the shortstop. And I asked their general manager, Alex Avila, I should say, like, if shortstop was their number one priority in free agency. And he is like, I'm not willing to say that it's our number one priority, but we need a shortstop. And they're going to target. They've talked to all 5 of the top free agents. And I would imagine Carlos Correa is number 1 on their list.
Wow. That's super interesting. Is he number 1 on anyone else's list?
Yes. I would imagine he's number 1 on most lists.
Okay.
Yeah, he's Correa is going to get paid. And if you end up looking at the fit with the Tigers, you got AJ Hinch there. They need a face of the franchise. They have a huge hole at shortstop. Like, it makes a ton of sense. Like, they're not going to stop talking to the other free agent shortstops, but I think the Tigers, I feel pretty good about them landing Correa, or at least one of these shortstops.
Okay. Let's go back to the starting pitchers here. Who do you think might be the next domino to fall here? Any ideas on that?
I've heard a lot of different rumblings in different cases here. You can look at a guy like Alex Wood, who's another left-handed pitcher who's gotten pretty strong interest throughout the league. The Giants are one team who's strongly in. There's other teams that are in on Wood. I think the Cardinals are one of the teams involved because they're seeking a ground ball pitcher, and like, he would fit perfectly with their defense. You can look at a guy like Noah Syndergaard. I would imagine he probably ends up signing a 1 year deal, but
did he reject his qualifying offer from the Mets?
Not yet.
Okay,
that's one of the very few qualifying offer decisions that we're awaiting right now. But I would imagine he rejects that.
You think he rejects it? So for a multi-year deal then? Because here's a guy who's coming off Tommy John. He's a qualifying offer. I mean, we're talking about $18 million. Maybe the argument would be reestablish your value and you can get more in a year. Or I don't know if somebody. I guess if you think you can get paid right now, then there's that.
Yeah, my educated guess is that he ends up signing a 1 year deal, and wants to end up hitting the market again after a full season, or at least what he hopes is a full season, and then ends up landing that lucrative contract that many people have envisioned. But My strong hunch is that he signs a 1-year contract.
Interesting. Okay. All right, Noah Syndergaard. Along your strong hunch thing, you think he's on the move, or do you think he stays put?
Ooh, good question, Carm.
Because I mean, it sounds to me like you're saying that at least you think that he might be on the move, because I mean, if you're going to sign a 1-year deal, why not just take the qualifying offer with the Mets, right? I mean,
yeah, but I think at the end of the day, he could probably end up getting a little bit more than the qualifying offer. At least that's
okay.
what I would imagine he's probably hoping for. But right now, I don't know what that market's going to look like for Syndergaard. I'd imagine there's pretty decent outside interest in him, but I can't say for sure if he's going to leave.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, let's move over to some of the playoff teams. We'll get to the Brewers in a second, but San Francisco's got money. San Francisco apparently is less and less interested in Chris Bryant, according to multiple reports, which hurts my heart because KB, you're my guy. What do you think the Giants do with all this dough?
Yeah, they got money to spend. And they've made it clear to people they've talked to, they've got a ton of money to spend. And they're going to seek out players who fit the description of the ones they signed last year. Undervalued players who may have not been used properly with other teams, that with a couple of adjustments can end up taking the next step and then end up hitting free agency in a year or two, and end up making significant dollars. But they're also going to end up looking at the top of the market. They're not going to just seek these 1 or 2 year deals every year, because that's not sustainable. I would imagine they end up looking. I don't have specific names at the top of the market, but they're going to look in that category this year. Alex Wood is somebody on their radar. I could see Michael Lorenzen being a player that they like. I reported the other day that there's a lot of West Coast teams that are interested in Lorenzen. I can't nail down which teams for sure, but the Giants to me make a ton of sense. But they're going to be very active because, well, I mean, they have to be. They have 4 rotation spots that need to be filled. I'd imagine they keep at least one of those guys from the rotation from last year. But I had a Giants executive say, expect the unexpected, because when people zig, we zag. And I asked him what that means or who they could target, and he responded with a smiley face. So I don't know if there's a smiley face on the open market, but yeah, they're a very fascinating bunch, but they've made it clear that they have a lot of money to spend.
Do we think Red for life Lorenzen is on the move?
Yes, I would imagine he's gone. I don't. You could see, as I said, the Giants. You could also look at a team like the Angels, who are desperately looking for starting pitching. They've also made it clear too that their payroll is not set, in the fact that they are not going to be ruling themselves out in anything. And that means a guy like Lorenzen. That could mean, Eduardo Rodriguez before he signed, like Max Scherzer, like any free agent starting pitcher, they're going to be in on. And they're going to be in on them aggressively. So Lorenzen, I think, is as good as gone out of Cincinnati, though. And I don't know when he'll sign, but I know his market's pretty active right now.
Can you tie the Angels in with any of the former Cubs? Did that happen? Does Joe Madden want any of these guys on his club? I wonder.
I thought coming into last year, I was thinking that Anthony Rizzo was going to be pretty heavily connected there. Because I thought they could use a shorts or a first baseman. But I don't know if that's going to end up happening. They got some pretty good pieces there. I'm trying to think. They got Baez, who's a free agent, Bryant.
Those are the three: Bryant, Baez, Rizzo, that I'm thinking about right now. I mean,
Kyle Schwarber too,
and Schwarbs.
Yeah.
Sure, my bad.
Yeah, yep. How dare you? Yeah, now you disappointed me, Carm. Schwarbs is my guy.
That was terrible. I apologize to Kyle Schwarber and the Dinger Bats Company, who we used to work with, and we went down and did a video down there that unfortunately didn't work out the way we wanted to. But Kyle Schwarber, we love you. What about the Brewers and Josh Hader? That's been a little contentious.
Yeah, it's very contentious. I have gotten a lot of mixed opinions on the likelihood of a trade, which has basically been along the lines of the previous off seasons. I will say there's more buzz about a trade this year than there has been in the past. And there's teams that are checking in on Hader. as you would expect. But
It's the Murray dang. Did something just happen? Anything good? Or do you got a barber shop? What do we got?
No barber shops. I do need to get a trim on the sides though. We're starting to get a little shaggy. We might be up to like a half or something, not even
Really?
a one.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, for those listening on the pod, you can't see, but those on the video side, this dude is like military tight over there.
You're darn right, Karma. You got to be looking good for as a single guy. You got to be looking fresh. So
I one of these pods, we could go deep into your dating life. I'd love to hear what it's like up there for you.
Oh God, yeah. I'm telling you, you need to have at least 10 beers with you because it's a doozy. But we have a good time.
There we go. There we go. Okay. Where were we? What were we talking about? I'm uncomfortable.
I was just thinking the same thing on my end. I could feel my cheeks getting a little red. So, yeah. I don't even know what we were.
No, we're sitting right here with Josh Hader and the Brewers, and at a potential. I don't know. I mean, if Hader's out there, I would think somebody would pay a lot.
I totally agree with you, and there's teams that I think fit for Hader. I mean, there's basically every team is going to want an elite closer like that. It just comes down to price. You look at a team like the Braves. I think they make a lot of sense for him, and they have the prospect capital to get him. I look at a team like the Rays. I think there's a really nice fit there for a role in the ninth inning. Will they be willing to take on a contract like Hader, who's going to be 10 plus million this year when they have even tighter restrictions on the Brewers? I don't think so. Maybe the Padres too. I know they've explored that in the past. And it wouldn't surprise me if they're in on that again. Actually, I believe they've checked in on Hader already, which is what AJ Preller does. But there's going to be a lot of teams that are in on Hader. As I said, there's more buzz about a potential trade this year than there has been in the past. But unless they're blown away with an offer, I just don't know if this is the year. But I will leave you with this. They have I got to build a suspense up here, Carm.
Yeah, okay. I got it.
They have contracts coming off the books following this year, and number one is Lorenzo Cain, and they have a couple others. I can't remember off the top of my head, but either way, this may be their last true chance to contend with this current team. And if they don't end up winning it all this year, I would imagine they're going to want to salvage something for Hader, and maybe his value is at the highest ever is it like right now in this offseason, but they would still get a ransom for him at the trade deadline or even after the season. So we may be having another 365 days more of Josh Hader trade rumors. This is what I'm trying to say.
Interesting. Well, Hader for his part is hold on a second here as it pops up. He's arbitration eligible next year, and then he's a free agent in 2024. So there's time there. Yelly's hanging around for a long time. There's that.
Yeah.
Guys like Brandon Woodruff will be a free agent in 25. So you got a little bit of time with Woodruff as well. They're not completely at the end of their run here. I mean,
no, they're not. And they also got Burns and Freddie Peralta who signed cheap too, and Devin Williams. Like that Devin Williams factor, by the way, that if they trade Hader, they're very comfortable with Williams going to the ninth inning.
Yeah. All right. The Brewers still kicking. All right. Let's tackle the free agent shortstops here. Do you think that this is a Correa signs first and then, or it could go in a variety of ways here? You've got Story and Correa and Seeger and Javi, a lot of guys. This is it's a rare elite class of shortstops.
It sure is. And I do think Correa is going to end up being like the first guy to sign. And I'll give you my reasons why. Is Baez and Story, they are at the bottom end of these shortstops, and I cannot see teams jumping the market to sign them when they're probably going to be in on these other guys. And you look at Marcus Simeon and Corey Seager. They're both represented by Scott Boras, who is not exactly known to jumping the market. He's usually very patient with his guys, although I believe it was Jeff Passan of ESPN who just signed a contract extension with them, by the way. So congrats, Jeff. Hopefully he's listening and says thank you.
Good job, Passan. You're the man, Passan. We love you, Passan.
True style. I'll echo those comments for the people back at home. But anyways, Passan said that those guys, their interest is pretty significant, and they could end up signing before a potential lockout on December 1st. But my guess,
I missed that. Passan's interest is was saying what about whose interest?
Oh, Passan said that the interest in Seeger and Simeon has been pretty hot.
Okay.
And that they could end up signing before the December 1st lockout, or potential lockout, I should say. But my guess is that Correa is the one who ultimately signs first, and then the dominoes fall from there. Kind of like what happened. What was it? Was it Machado and Bryce Harper's free agent year? Or I think Machado may have signed first, and then Harper signed for more because Boris
that's how that went.
Contract. Yeah. But either way, they're going to get paid. But I think Correa signs first, and the team that's most connected to him, the Detroit Tigers. I mean, they've already been pretty aggressive in free agency, so deal's not imminent, but it wouldn't shock me.
So speaking of the lockout,
yep.
If we rewind back to COVID, we learned a very clear lesson that the owners are completely fine with less baseball. We do not want to pay you for games in April, May, and in that case, even June. We care about the postseason because that's where the money is, and that's when we'll kick down. So the lockout is everyone's predicting will happen in December. Your guess, Robert, here, what you're hearing at the GM meetings and all that as to how long it lasts, because it seems to me like the owners might be, hey, we could start the season in June. That's sweet. Then we don't have to pay you for April and May when the crowds are less. TV ratings don't matter to them at that. So this might play on for a long time, considering how you look at the way they went about their business during the pandemic.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be missing any baseball next year.
You said that before too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, and I apologize for contradicting you because you're my guy.
No. I want you to contradict me if you think I'm wrong. We can have a fair bet on this, and I hope you're right. By the way, I like my baseball to start on time. Damn it! But I do wonder if it will.
Yeah, it's going to be a good rant from you whenever I hear the word "damn it." Like that's usually a good sign for what's to come. I like that, by the way. It's just a random nugget that I wanted to throw out there.
Okay. What do you think the main thing that happens during the lockout that will impact fans? Are we talking length, different playoff format, or DH is the top of the list there? That's going to be universal. I mean, what do you see being the resolution of this, that we can all go home happy and get our baseball back?
Yeah, I think those are two of the more pressing things that are going to be discussed in this. And I ultimately think a universal DH is going to happen. That's at least the expectation from everybody that I talked to down at the GM meetings, but also like figuring out salary arbitration numbers. Like I think it was the Athletic who reported that they're going to determine, or at least in this latest proposal from the Major League Baseball, that they're going to determine value for arbitration numbers by Fangraphs WAR. And that did not sit well at all with the players. Like I was told there's absolutely no shot like that actually is the case, and they need to come to an agreement on that. But like going back to your original question on what I think this lockout looks like, or this pending lockout, is there's not going to be an agreement right away by December 1st. I think it's going to end up lasting a while, and ultimately it ends up happening before spring training, and maybe pitchers and catchers and everybody else reports a week or two later. And then there's a shortened spring training, but I can't imagine that there's going to end up being regular season games missed, because regular season games missed means one thing for both sides, and that's money lost. And that's something that each side is really interested in, and that they both they love the game. Don't get me wrong, but they're ultimately in this game because they're making money. And after a COVID shortened season last year, like they lost a lot of money, and I can't see either side, especially owners, being willing to give that up, because it's crucial for both sides.
It would be a bad look as far as irritating the fans.
Yep.
Drawn out lockout's not what baseball needs right now. By the way, our guy John Bueller is writing the 5 destinations for Chris Bryant. He's got the Phillies, the Blue Jays, the Mariners, the Giants, and he's got the Mets at 1. Would you like to dispute Bueller's reporting here?
Wait, name those teams again. Sorry, I had a text that popped up. I was reading it.
He's got the Mets 1, the Giants 2, the Mariners 3, and his 4 and 5. I just lost it. Hold on. I don't think he even lists the old. He doesn't even have the Cubs on there. It's emotional. He's got the. Hold on. Well, let's go from the start here. They're Chris Bryant. I don't know why I am obsessed, Robert Murray, with KB.
No, nothing wrong with that. He's a good guy to obsess over.
He's got the Phillies 5 and the Blue Jays 4. Does any of that ring true to you?
Yeah, like I heard you mention the Mariners. I think that's a team to definitely watch for KB.
Interesting.
I think the Mets make a lot of sense, but I think ultimately they end up re-signing Javier Baez because that's Lindor's boy, and I'm pretty sure that Lindor has Steve Cohen's ear. Like I don't want to say Lindor runs that team, but he's got Cohen's ear. Let's just say that. I would imagine those are the two most prominent ones for sure. That's good stuff by John, by the way. That's good dot connecting by him. He's my guy. So shout out to John for that. Good work.
Bueller is the ultimate workhorse superstar, always there for you, the guy you want on your team. John Bueller, we love you. Hey, let's do a wrap up here. The White Sox picked up Craig Kimbrell's $16 million option, and it sounds like he's going to be moved. What kind of market is there for a dude who was not good in the 8th inning last year, but has been one of the best closers in the game in the 9th and was great with the Cubs before coming over to the White Sox? Do you think the Sox get any real return for Kimbrell?
I think they end up getting a decent return, but not the kind of return that they ended up giving up when they got him for the Cubs. But I would imagine there's going to end up being a really strong market for him because he's going to end up being, correct me if I'm wrong, cheaper than Iglesias, who's currently had a qualifying offer thrown at him for 1 year, $18.4 million. And I think Kimbrell is a better closer than Iglesias. And like, if you look at his numbers when he was with the Cubs last year, like he was on a Hall of Fame trajectory. Like he was phenomenal. I mean, you got to see him up close being in Chicago. And he was great. So I would imagine there's going to be in a team, or at least a few teams, who believe that being in the 8th inning is what impacted him last year. And then if you put him back to the 9th, you're going to get a performance a lot closer to what he did with the Cubs. And there's going to be a huge market for a guy, as I said, who's on a Hall of Fame trajectory here.
I'm going to go buyer beware on this one. He was scuffling at the end of his Red Sox tenure. Chris Sale was closing games. He came to the Cubs. He was not good for basically a year and a half. Then he found it. Then he was incredible. Then he got moved to the White Sox down the stretch, and it bothered him so much to be the 8th inning guy that he was just flat out bad. I don't know. Which guy are you getting? I think you're on the money on the markets. They're not getting Nick Madrigal and Cody Hoyer that level back.
No.
But I guess the White Sox were right to bring him back and get something for him rather than just let him walk. Although they have to deal with the hassle of moving him. So
yeah, I'll tell you, like the Cubs getting what they did at the deadline, that was very good. That was a very good move. I know Madrigal is hurt, but like that's a nice piece, and Hewer was also very good too. So to be able to land both of them for a guy who's going to be with the White Sox for what was it, 2 months? Like that's good GMing by Jed Hoyer. That's very good.
Yeah. I mean, Madrigal's an interesting guy because he's singles hitting second baseman who has been at best average with the glove, but we'll see. Maybe he's a guy that fits into a lineup nicely because dudes that hit 300 still work nowadays. Bert, did we miss anything?
I don't think so. I think we ended up getting a lot of stuff covered here, Carm. Like, I'll say this: it would not surprise me, if in the next 72 hours we have another prominent free agent go off the board. I'll leave you with that.
Okay, and if we do, come back to the Baseball Insiders for a quick 10-minute recap of that because I know Bert knows something. I think Bert knows something that he's not telling us right now because he wants to keep his sources tight to the vest, and so we can have all the info for you on the Baseball Insiders. By the way, we really appreciate it. Any subscribers, so jump on in here, and we will do our very, very best to make it worth your while. Congrats on all the information, Robert Murray. Good job out there in California. I'll talk to upper management if need be to get first class ticket next time. No, none of this flying in the back of the plane stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah. How'd you know? I was in the back of the plane. You got good sources, Carm. Holy jeez Louise. But no, I appreciate you, and I'll just tell you, stay tuned, Carm. Stay very tuned.
Stay very tuned. All right. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Enjoy your baseball off season. Let's hope for a short lockout and lots of fun news. It's Baseball Insiders. Mark Carmen, yours truly, and our Baseball Insider, Robert Murray. Thanks for listening.